Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Ashley Chambers. I'm one of the new co-presidents along with Andrea. Thank you guys so much for coming. SUSD, thank you so much for coming. This is the May 13th, 2026 general meeting. If you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We really need to move that flag to
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we gather for this meeting, let us take a moment to reflect on the meaning of this place, and in doing so, recognize the various traditional lands on which we do our business today. We wish to acknowledge this land on which this SPC meeting is taking place. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Hohokam, the Acamel Odaham, and most recently, the Salt River Pima Indian community. Today, this meeting place is still home to many indigenous people from across Maricopa, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on this land, and apologies for any mispronunciations. Okay, this is the May general meeting. We will start with the Q&A with the superintendent, Dr. Menzel. I have just a few questions for Dr. Menzel, and then I will open it up to any written questions that anyone might have. And then for the people who are online listening, please email us your questions in advance before the next meeting in August. That way we have them at least 2 days prior. The first question is one of my own questions, and it's something I've been seeing a lot, and I know we're all going through some tough times in Arizona economically. So the first question that I have is for Dr. Menzel, and I have been seeing a lot of social media chatter about why are schools closing, why are school districts saying that they don't have any money, and they're posting a picture of what looks like public school financing and saying we have $7 billion in excess cash and that our revenue exceeds our expenses by a couple of $1 billion. So can you talk to me, I don't know if you've seen this document, but can you talk to me about whether that's applicable to SUSD or not, and if so, why not, in very basic terms?
Sure. Well, school finance is complicated, but that information is misleading in this sense. So when you look at $7 billion, it's a big number spread across districts, but it's all sources of funding. Our fiscal year is July to June. Many of our federal grants are October to September. So there's going to be cash balances available at the end of one of our fiscal years because the federal fiscal year is different. So there's one difference. Secondly, you have different sources of funding. So the district has Indian gaming funding. We have a community ed account. We have indirect costs. There are different sources of funding that not only does Scottsdale have, but all districts have. And so there's another source of cash balances. There are bond proceeds that districts have, and they're not all spent. And so those will show as a cash balance. So let's assume for a minute the bond passes in November. We do the first bond sale. I think they predicted something like $125 million the first time. You're going to put $125 million in the bank and at the end of year one. You're not going to spend all $125 million, which means you're going to have a cash balance. So this notion that you have cash on hand that you can just freely spend doesn't acknowledge the fact that most of the cash on hand has a specific dedicated purpose. The second thing is there's something known as dead cash. This is far more complicated, but a legislative change in 2016 resulted in districts sometimes collecting tax revenue that they are not authorized to spend. So we have a revenue control limit. There's only so much you can spend. So this money was received by the district but can't be spent. That dead cash does contribute to the overall amount of cash balances that districts have. We used to have a substantial amount, 15 or 16 million in dead cash. And what it means is that because it exceeds your revenue control limit, you can't use it. So the only value it had to us is that it helps with cash flow. So we didn't have to borrow to make payroll because we had money there, but we had no authorization to use it. For Scottsdale, that all got swept with the Quasmeyer lawsuit and the judgment in terms of the overpayment of taxes by our residents. And so, and that was a county assessor problem. When they swept that money, we no longer have dead cash, but there are other districts that do. So of that $7 billion, a subset of that is the dead cash. And that's money that's just sitting there and can't be used legally. There's no legal authority to use it. The other money is generally tied to specific purposes. So when you look at Scottsdale Unified School District in our budgeting, we're fixing a structural budget deficit. So if you think about our annual revenue coming in based on our ADM and the expenditures to operate the district, we had been subsidizing that through cash accounts that we had, so indirect and Medicaid funding and community education. Those other cash accounts helped allow us to avoid more significant cuts, and now those cash accounts are depleted. So in Scottsdale, we're not in a position where we're sitting on significant amounts of cash that could help us avoid some of the difficult cuts. We used that as long as we could, and now we're at a point where we can no longer do that. Does that answer the question?
That does. I think we need to have like a full meeting just about school finances here. It's an intense topic. I think that's a really good information for us all to know. Completely switching gears, going forward, why are students no longer allowed to use personal computers or devices and will only be allowed to use district-issued devices?
So there are a couple of things that we've observed with the bring your own device. And the first is when you're not on our network, that means there's no filtering. So we can't comply with SIPA and COPA, the things that the federal government expects us to do when students are on school property, because they're using wireless networks. They can access anything they want. There's no filtering potential. That also opens the door for students making some poor choices with respect to what in the past has been called cheating. So they can use AI, they can Google a friend, they can do other things, and there's no ability to monitor. And so you just kind of open yourself up. It also creates a disparity between some people who have access to other technology and some people who don't. And our systems don't necessarily support all of the technology that students might bring. Sometimes if somebody brings a personal device to school and it gets damaged, that could be an issue. But the biggest part is we're unable to comply with the federal filtering requirements and ensure that proper use of technology is taking place across our campuses. And we've watched this play out over the last few years. And given the district has invested in the technology, that was the reason for the decision.
Okay. Another interesting question. What happened at the board meeting last night on a possible bond? And I think you sort of answered this question a little bit earlier, but why is SUSD pursuing a bond when we are repurposing schools?
So the board voted 5-0 to put a bond proposal on the ballot in November. It's a $375 million ask. If you watch the April 28th meeting, you'll get the benefit of all of the rationale, including the feasibility survey that we did to get a sense of how voters would respond. The last bond issue in Scottsdale was in 2016. Typically, districts will pursue it more frequently. Every 6 or 7 years is a normal cadence. We're at a decade. And though we're in a position of reducing our footprint in terms of repurposing buildings, we still have, even if we close 2 more or 3 in the 27-28 year, we have 24 or 25 buildings that need to be maintained. You think about Desert Mountain High School and the ongoing challenges. It's 30 years old. It has a lot of infrastructure work that needs to be done from a plumbing perspective, from a bathrooms perspective. Actually, if you listen to our student advisory board, you know bathrooms in a lot of places need to be touched. So the needs are pretty significant. The April 28th study session helps identify what those needs are. The survey indicated that we could get support for asking for as much as $475 million, but we wanted to ask for what we thought we could reasonably accomplish in the next 5 years. And so that's the dollar amount that will be in front of voters is $375 million. That money is also important because we're shifting a significant amount of our annual capital appropriation to M&O to be able to support paying our staff because the state doesn't provide those additional resources. If you don't have the bond to be able to take care of those capital needs, then you're going to have to move that DAA money back, and that means you're going to have to make some more difficult choices with respect to staff. So right now we're in a position that if we get the support of the community, that capital investment allows us to continue to do the other things that help us attract and retain talent.
Okay, perfect. Can confirm on the need for bathroom support throughout the district. Okay.
We probably don't want to brand it as a bathroom bond, but it will be an important part of it.
Yes, I can confirm that. Okay, and then this is the last question that I have before I'll open it up to anybody here who has any questions on the slips. Will SUSD be asking voters for permission to sell property? And if voters approve that measure, does it mean the properties will be sold?
So that also was approved 5-0 last night. 3 specific parcels were identified that we're seeking authorization to sell, and that would be Apache in South Scottsdale, Cholla up by Miracle League, and Oak, which is across the street from Coronado. And an authorization to sell does not require the board to sell. The authorization allows the board to enter into long-term leases that are longer than 20 years and or sell the property. And absent voter approval, you can't have a lease longer than 20 years and you can't sell. So this is designed to give this board or a future board maximum flexibility with respect to facilities that have not been used as schools for us for a very long time. And so, no, the board doesn't have to sell them, but the board can sell them.
Okay, that's great. Any questions from anybody here? Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Menzel?
What's the Apache? I know the Cholla by Miracle League, Legacy Schools, and Oak across Coronado. Is the Apache the bus?
Yeah, we've got our south bus garage is down there at Apache. There's a 2-story building that, according to Dennis, really should be torn down. He said he could also probably get 24 900 square foot apartments in there, but it's not in usable shape. But we do have a bus compound there with a training room, and so that does serve a district purpose. There had been a tenant in another part of the building, but that parcel itself, if you found another place for the bus garage, could be something that could be redeveloped in some capacity.
Under current laws, you can't spend that money. It has to go to a specific place if you were to sell those things.
So if we sell it, that money has to go into plant fund and can only be used for capital. So if you lease, then there are some different rules. Leasing to a non-educational entity means that money goes into plant as well. Can't use it for maintenance and operating expenses, but you can use it for capital. If you lease to an educational entity, you have flexibility to use that plant fund for M&O purposes. And so there's some nuance there, but generally if you sell an asset, that goes into plant fund and can only be used for capital expenses.
Those are great questions. Thank you for asking them. Anybody else?
Has Echo Canyon been determined?
So the board continues to have conversation about next steps, but no decisions have been made. And while we'd like to be able to finalize that, we also want to make sure we get it right. And so we're following the guidance of the governing board, and they've met a couple of times in executive session to direct legal counsel on that.
Great question.
Was the timeline to complete phase 2 not this coming school year, but the following?
So the decision will be in October of 2026. Implementation would be for the 27-28 school year.
Anybody else? Going once?
Specific elementary schools?
Say that again?
It's specific to elementary?
So, well, no, it's specific to at least 2 buildings and possibly more in the Desert Mountain Learning Community plus Copper Ridge. So it's really focused in that part of the district. Yesterday, I got some people were moving furniture and found a sheet of paper that had allocations for maintenance of our buildings and how many students were in the buildings. And if you looked at in 1999, 2000, how full all those buildings were, I mean, really, really full. And where we are now, it's just a complete significant difference in terms of the decline in the school-age population in that part of Scottsdale.
Great question. Okay. Thank you for coming to the hot seat.
Thank you.
We
I
appreciate
it.
you.
And thank you. And this is the last meeting of the year. Appreciate the support and ongoing engagement of Scottsdale Parent Council. And I look forward to re-engaging in the fall.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a great summer. Okay. Thank you. The next thing that we have is the fine arts and the career technical education. So let's go ahead and welcome Michelle, please, the coordinator of fine arts. Thank you, Michelle, for being here.
Thank you. See if I can hook it in.
Okay, we'll get that figured out. while we're waiting for that, we have a new board coming in for next year. And with any change comes an opportunity. So the new board, what we're focused on is sort of like a rebrand, a refresh. We are going to be spending time this summer getting together and talking with each other about sort of the new direction that we want to see SPC head. What we really need from the community is we need a lot of support and a lot of engagement to figure out, okay, SPC is sort of entering a new time as a district, and how can we better represent the parents? How can we get more parental involvement? We really want to see and figure out what do parents want from SPC in order to make it successful, in order to improve things in the district. And we really want SPC to become very representative of parents and their concerns and their approvals of the district. So if you go to our website, you can see the email address. Please email us if you have ideas. We would like to come to all of your PTO meetings and meet you all and talk with you all. We would really like to use this opportunity to see if we can head in a new direction, not better, not worse, just a different direction. So we would appreciate your support in that. Please email us, and we would love to get together with you.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come and speak. I think the last time I did this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, so very kind of exciting. So just a quick, what is the fine arts? It's all the visual and performing arts, kindergarten through 12th grade. So at SUSD, we have music K-12, band and strings and choir usually start around 4th grade, general music, kindergarten to 5th. We have IB music, MYP music, piano, guitar. At the high schools, we have IB dance and dance classes added into that. And then actually next year, we will have elementary dance at 2 schools, at Hohokam and at Tavon. So we're very excited about that. So it's kind of a quick little pilot, but maybe that'll continue on. And then, of course, we offer visual arts K-12. Our kindergarten through 5th grade receive visual arts and music every year per ESSA. So it's kind of a wonderful thing that I think SUSD does it right. We have certified teachers all in those spaces. We have theater starting in 6th grade. You'll see that we do have some elementary musicals. Those are usually like after school kind of activities or stuff like that. But we do have all of those type of things. Enrollment, this is taken off of the Arts Education Data Explorer through the Arizona Commission of the Arts. And enrollment, and you can see the gray line at the bottom is the state, and we at SUSD tend to trend a bit higher than the state, which is really wonderful. And I think our city support of the arts. Basically, our elementary schools, our students are getting 100% of all students receive music and visual arts. In the middle school, we range around 80% of the students receive music and visual arts. And then high school, we usually average around 64%. That's because you can start choosing those once you hit middle school and high school. And of course, different selections pose choices. So, yes. In general, some of our K-8s, it's rotated into it, but middle school-wise, usually they do get to select. So, in general, yes. Yeah, it's really good, right? And then, we talked a little bit about money. We talked about bond. A capital override passed about 4 years ago, so kind of want to talk to you about what we use that funding for. We have an instrument inventory at Oak, which will be moved, I think, to Pima at some point. But we have an instrument inventory there. We have a sheet music library. We replace the kilns for all the arts teachers, the visual arts teachers. We do uniform replacements, concert and marching band uniforms. So our high schools, they get new uniforms every 10 years. So we have 5 high schools. On the other 5 years, we replace the middle school and high school concert uniforms. A lot of our choirs and concert bands and stuff like that. We do our music chairs and stands. They are very different than the regular chairs and stand. They're posture chairs. We do lighting in performance spaces, dance floors and carts. Auditorium seating, that's probably gonna be a bond one because right now those are sitting at about $300,000 to replace one auditorium set of seatings, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But we have refurbished floors, we've replaced stage floors. We also do photography computers and printers and cameras for the non-CTE photography courses, replacement cases, art tables, pit covers, stage curtains, storage area, lighting, choral risers, all that kind of fun stuff. Yes? So we offer instruments to anyone who can't. So kind of like we'll show here on the next slide, at Oak, this was kind of when I took this. You can, yes, yeah. Yeah, so you can rent them from the district for $50, but if you are on free reduced, you can get that for free. One of my dreams when I came into this job is because when I had instruments break, kids would not have an instrument for weeks while it got repaired. Well, now we have a depot. So if it breaks, they fill out a repair form, they fill out another form. 2 days later, a new one gets delivered to their school. So we don't have kids sitting around with poor quality. And I will say, when I first got this job, I think I surplused out like about 300 instruments just because they were garbage. So I'm very, very excited about what we have there. So if you guys ever want to check it out, it'll be at Oak for probably about 4 or 5 more months and then moving on over. But that's our instrument inventory. And then we have a repair cycle, like I mentioned. It's $50 to rent instruments. But if your students are on free and reduced, they receive them free. And then broken instruments are repaired by the district with approved vendors. We take care of all that. That's not a teacher's worry. They fill the form out, it gets sent to the warehouse. I review the instruments, the repair vendors come there, they take them and repair them and then bring them back. Teachers have the option to ask for that exact instrument back, or they can just ask for another one from the depot to replace it. And then the instruments are reviewed. So I've gotten to a point now where I can really tell about how much everything costs to repair. So we look at purchase price, years, to make sure we're not like throwing money away into instruments that are just constant. Like, for instance, a clarinet or something that we purchased for $400 needs $270 in repair. It'd be better to buy a new one that would last longer than that. So we also have a sheet music library at Oak, which will also be, I believe, moving to Pima. This sheet music library is all categorized by levels. So there's middle school, high school, there's all different choral groups, there's theater productions for the elementary. They're all categorized and labels. You can kind of see the kids all think they look like pizza boxes, but they're actually music boxes. And the teachers also have a ability to purchase music as well. It does go through me, so I can kind of just make sure we aren't purchasing too crazy of stuff, you know what I mean? So they have that, it gets stored here, they can check it back out. So we've really optimized our resources there, so we're not purchasing. When I first got here, we had like 15 copies of one piece of music. Well, that's not really a good use of funding. So this has kind of cleaned that up. And then they also have a form that they can fill out if they need replacement bows, replacement mouthpieces, neck straps, rosin, valve oil, cleaning supplies. Because that was another issue I felt as a teacher, is I spent way too much time trying to repair instruments and find parts for things. So we have a little form that they can fill out. There's a staff app, they fill it out. 2 days later, it arrives at their place. So trying to let them teach, not worry about those other things. And then art boards, we have a district set of art boards. So I'm sure if you guys have had any art events at your schools or you've come to the Arts Fest, we have these art boards. We have them also on a management system. So they are very, very busy in April. So we've been purchasing a few extra ones, but teachers can check them out and schools can check them out so they can have their art shows. And then during the summer, the SCORE students actually clean them and paint them, which I think is pretty awesome. So, and then I also oversee all the performing spaces from K-12. So it says auditoriums here, but that's also cafetoriums, which we have a lot of those in the K-8. And I'm sorry. So basically, We replace the floors, we paint the floors. You can see the pit covers there. Probably 4 of our 5 high schools had condemnable pit covers when I got the job. So they're all safe now. No children will fall or be hurt. And they have a system for cleaning out. We've also redone all the rigging at all the 5 high schools and about 12 of the middle school elementaries. So we're slowly making our way through. We come up with a 5-year plan, which basically we find the ones that are in the worst case scenario, busiest used, and then we categorize, and we're slowly making it through. But every single school in the district has been touched, either through an audio repair, a light repair, staging. Since Tavon will have dance next year, we'll be replacing their floor on their stage because that's actually where dance will be. Mojave here, we just replaced all their sound and light. We had to replace their floor when the termites decided to eat them. So we've been slowly making our way through all of the spaces. Yes. Oh, you're so ahead of me. I'll actually show you on the last slide. I'll give you like some ideas, but yes, you're so right. When I came here last time, I talked a little bit about the Arts Proficiency Seal. It's a arts pathway for high school. So 4 years in an arts pathway, the students can apply for an arts seal. It's a digital portfolio that we make. So basically, they create a website. You can also find this on the susd.org arts. It has a link to all of this, and they actually have proficiency seals. But we had 107 students this year receive the seal. It's a true commitment, and those portfolios are wonderful. We do the digital portfolios so that the students can take those links and then send them to a university so that they can see a little bit of who they are as an artist. And many students have walked away with college scholarships and gotten into schools because it's way better than a 500-word essay or something like that. Then we have, these are our district events that we kind of do throughout the year. November, kind of sit around the middle school and high school choral festival. We have marching band exhibition. January, we have the middle school honor band and honor orchestra festival. We also have the dance festival in January or February. We do the Parada del Sol. All of our high school bands and many of our middles join it. Looks like they're doing the landscaping out there. Then Arts Festival. When I first took this job, I don't know if any of you guys were here when it used to be off at a church in Center Scottsdale. Well, we have worked with Scottsdale Arts, and so now it's at the Center for the Arts, which I think's fabulous. We did it at Sky Song for a while because they had a whole bunch of money to throw our way, and all I needed to do was bring people. So, but we are now doing it at Scottsdale Center for the Arts, which I think is a wonderful venue. And then we do our District Jazz Festival at SCC, which is great. Current partnerships that we have, the MIM. So this is for this is not just arts, any classroom teacher that would like to send their students to the MIM, I can get them free entrance for the class. It's also a guided tour, and the MIM also provides me money to transport them there, so the busing as well. So we have quite a few, generally 3rd grade, seems to be really popular, 3rd, 4th grade, and then we also have some middle schools and high schools going to the artist residencies and stuff like that, but the STEM tour I think is probably the favorite. And the MIM also holds an SUSD night, which we had about 500 people there this year, so that was wonderful. Child's Play, we have a partnership with them. They do 4 free productions at schools, so they'll come in and they'll do an assembly. So that's been for the last 3 years. Scottsdale Arts, I do a done with. They do arts integration residencies. They do them at our 2 STEAM schools, but then they also all around, right? So we've had Ingleside Hopi. I think Ingleside had a poetry one. And so I do that with them. They also do a high school program for visual arts on 2D and 3D art, where those students travel to actual art studios, work with professional artists. So we do that with them as well, and we also have that for dance as well. So that's a wonderful thing. Ballet Arizona, we have done matinees, and they pay for the transportation for all the title schools and a reduced price for the others, but we have the Ballet Arizona partnership, which we might be expanding, but I don't know yet on that one. So what's new since I came here last? We have honors levels courses at the high school, which has had the effect that I hoped. A lot more students staying in the program, but also a lot more students making honor ensembles, regionals, and all states. We have had a 45% growth in participation, which I think is incredible. I've had to save more money because I have to send more kids to all state, so that's a pretty wonderful thing. We, of course, have the arts proficiency seals that we've done. We do have a arts department page, which has all that proficiency seal information on there and various other things. We've actually created 2 portable sound systems, but I'm in the process of purchasing 3 because we have so many elementary schools that are doing productions. So these portable sound systems allow them to add 12 to 24 lavalier mics. So when HoHoCom did their little Disney production with Gamage, that was one of them. Kiva had another one, but we're just finding they're getting used a whole lot. So to me, that's cheaper than putting in a $60,000 unit in a school that gets used maybe 3 weeks of the year. So we're kind of traveling these systems around to allow them to do that. Our middle schools, cafeteriums, we're upgrading all of those. Our 5 high schools all have new sound systems, new soundboards, new light boards, which we partner with CTE on a lot of that stuff too. And we have all our 5 high schools have new uniforms. We'll be starting the next rotation in 2 years. And all of our middle schools have received updated concert uniforms. Kokopah will be this next year, so Kokopah choir and band and that. So kind of, yes. So basically, we set the system up for sound with like 1 or 2 wireless microphones. But when you do a show production, you want to have the lavalier mics on the kids because they're dancing and moving. So this portable system, we roll it in and we plug it into the audio system. So the audio systems we purchased have the ability to plug right in, and then we can add the lavalier mics.
And do you guys provide the lavalier mics as well?
Yeah.
I know Ingleside just had their production.
Yes.
And I noticed that they could possibly use that
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah, that's
We did not use it this year, so that's something that I'd love to bring to them.
100%. Yeah, and they can just reach out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, so basically, they need contact, and then we, because similar to the art boards, they are very high demand in March and April, why I've gone for the 3rd now. I might go for another one above that, so we'll kind of see. Good problem to have, which I think. So what's next? You talked a little bit about what's next. I don't know if you guys have heard about the Spark team. It's the phase 2 kind of planning repurposing committees. So I was in charge of the K-8 Arts Magnet possibility. So we've been putting that together and that whole proposal. We just did our last official presentation in front of the Spark team. And on June 23rd, we'll be presenting to the board. So it's kind of a fun little thing. We're also going to be replacing the curtains at the high schools, not the main drape. I already replaced those. But curtains need to have flame retardant on it. So right now our main drape is an IFR curtain. Before we had curtains, we had to spray them, and then you had to clean them and spray them. So we're not doing that anymore. We're replacing them all with IFR curtains. So we'll be doing our 5 high schools this next year. And then we're also the black box theaters at the high school, and then a few of the middle schools. We're going to start working on those. And those black boxes is like a smaller performance space, usually where the theater class is. And they'll do like improv in there, or they might do some small 1-acts or those type of things. It makes it set up so they can use that as a smaller performance space where they may not have 1,000 people show up at their event. So they can fit like 100, 150 into their space. And we're also doing a K-12 arts curriculum adoption next year. Currently, I've been subsidizing our curriculum through Title IV funding, which I don't know if do you guys know what Title IV funding is? So schools that have Title I also get Title IV funding. Title IV funding's for well-rounded education. So it can be used for the arts and physical education, gifted, various other things. So we've been supplementing using Title IV funding to get the curriculum that those teachers need. Oops, sorry about that. And then future forward on the possible bond. Some of the biggies is a complete remodel of the Saguaro Performing Arts area auditorium. I can't tell you how awful that place is. It just needs, I think when they did the rebuild of that school, they did like the band and choir room. The orchestra room's awful. It's missing like half the tiles in the ceiling. It has fabric hanging from it. The backstage shop area is just not big enough for them to put props in and kids safely to work. So it's just, it needs a bunch of TLC. The bathrooms need to be done. All 5 auditoriums, the bathrooms need to be redone. So that would be part of the plan, as like a remodel of all 5. LED lighting in performance spaces. It's so expensive to change those light bulbs every year, and those spaces are getting left on for a really long period of time. So they're expensive to run, and they're expensive to replace, and many of them require us to get one of those special lifts in that can do a staircase. So you have to rent that, and that can be like $30,000 to rent that. So the goal would be to do that. I think that's also what we plan for athletics as well. Desert Mountain has LED lighting on their stadium, so I think the plan is the other 4 stadiums will have that. And then seating replacement. Some of them are, well, most of them are really bad. You'll see you walk through like Chaparral, and he's got big duct tape on, don't sit in the seat, because you sit and you slide straight through it. I think Desert Mountain has like some regular chairs slid into theirs. Arcadia, when they remodeled, they put the old chairs in it, so it doesn't really fit. So you'll notice, like, if you sit there, you kind of feel like you're sliding. It's because they retrofitted them to the space. So that's kind of probably like the big items for us. A lot of really great stuff, but like, for instance, the seating alone would be like probably $300,000. LED lighting would probably rank right up there around $200,000. So they're just expensive initial fixes, but will last a long time. So that's kind of like me. Any questions? Yes.
Does video production and the school news network fall under you?
Yeah. Most of it. It's kind of a mix, right? Yeah. Yes.
Do you have a goal on how many students you like to see getting the seal each year?
I always like to grow. Our first year, we had 36 total students. So now we're sitting at about 106, 107. I think the hard thing is so many kids want to leave early in their day, and there's many other options. So I think that having those honors levels courses have helped keep them there, and then just more publicizing the seals. But I mean, I'd love to see us go even higher. I will say our seal is a bit harder to earn because they have to do 80 hours of community service in the arts, which is a lot. Some of them hit it easily, right? Could be a theater production. You could easily spend that amount of time. But for our visual arts students, that's a lot of additional time building that space. And then a 4-year commitment to a pathway. So I've noticed I've had a few that do like 2 here or 2 there, and it's completely different pathways. So that tends to pose a problem. Yeah, we did make a concerted effort this year to meet with the counselors, kind of answer all their questions, because they were also confused, because all of our proficiency seals are very different from each other. So we kind of created a 1-pager, and then we kind of went through that, and then we've met with the registrars and stuff like that. So I think my goal and hope this upcoming year is to do a roadshow. So we just go to each of the high schools, offer a lunch and learn kind of thing, give the kids a chance to answer any of those questions. But
I actually think that hitting them in 8th grade
Hmm.
better, especially because like I have an Ingleside daughter, and her elective she only gets to pick 2, and so she didn't pick a fine art, but also leans towards that. So
Right.
she could get hit in the fall of 8th grade about this seal.
Great idea. That's really, so maybe we continue the road show to middle school. I like that.
Because you have to do 4 years.
Right.
So if they miss that boat freshman year, then they can't get it.
Right. or they have to double up. Yeah, yeah.
Any concerns with fund, oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, any concerns with funding? Because I know a lot of times, you know, they're talking a lot about funding, losing funding. I know arts is often the first to get cut. Have you seen any changes over the last 5 years? Do you anticipate any?
So fortunately, the capital override passed, so that helped with that kind of stuff. I think our biggest concern is enrollment. Like when a school enrollment is down, then staffing is down. So how do we capture back those people? Because we have incredible offerings here in SUSD, but I'm not sure we're narrating how great it is.
So you have been seeing that with the staffing, because I know that, you know, I have a daughter at Desert Mountain, and I know that they didn't continue some of the classes, that like arts class. I think there was like a fashion design one or something, and I don't know if that was lack of participation or didn't have a teacher for
That
it.
was a teacher change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and are you seeing that at all the schools?
Well, I know Arcadia picked up fashion. I would hope that that would happen more. You know, that K-8 magnet that we've done does have fashion in it. So my hope was that that would build in, because I think that's a very big opportunity that we're missing out on. Yeah.
Is there an age limit to the seal?
Age limit? No. I mean, it's a high school thing, so they receive it their senior year. Yeah. Yes.
80 hours of volunteer, so I didn't need an orchestra.
Mhm.
So would she have to volunteer outside of the classroom 80 hours, or what would that look like?
Yeah, so it's anything she's not receiving a grade for. Does that make sense? So if I'm helping, like, I'll say like at Saguaro, the quartet came over here and played, that would count, right? Because they're not receiving a grade for it. Or maybe they go and perform at the Arts Fest, or they help out at stuff. So anything it's not requirement for their grade.
It's arts related.
Yes.
So how do they find out about those opportunities?
So usually they're teachers. A lot of them have, there's a little community service form that they fill out and reflect on, and then the teacher signs off on it. Yep.
I think there's a question right there.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So I work at Kiva. I have a student at Kiva. I have a student at Ingleside. We're very heavily into the drama club that
Mhm.
is at both of the locations. At Kiva specifically, we have a lot of parent involvement
Mhm.
where stage props and costumes and whatnot, and a lot of those funds come out of APTO
Mhm.
money that we have available. And so every time we kind of switch to the next play, the question is, are there other schools in SUSD that have done this play that have props that we could possibly
Right.
pull from? So my question is, you know, on all of the elementary schools, middle schools, now high schools, is there an area where props can be stored and possibly shared between all of the schools?
You know, I've thought about that. I was going to see if when I have move everything from Oak to Pima, if there is a space I can do it. I do have a dragon currently at Oak in the sheet music room.
We have a house from
Yeah.
Willy Wonka that's kind of like just being
It's a great idea.
in the back of our school and like possibly destroyed now because of, you know, whatever weathering
Mhm.
happens. And we just don't have the space. And I know when we did Aladdin a few years ago, we had these amazing props, and then all of a sudden they disappeared in some storage hole at
Right.
SUSD. I don't even know where they went. But if there is a location, and then all of us can
Come and use them.
come and use
Yeah.
them when needed, and also save some money and maybe put money towards other things.
I love it.
I don't know if that's even possible.
I will ask.
Yeah.
I didn't have an extra room at Oak, but I'm going to ask.
And I know a lot
Yeah.
of like Ingleside, the music teacher
Mhm.
there, she partners with other like theaters in groups in our
Yes.
area too, and kind of they reuse props that way too. So just kind of brainstorming ideas on
Yes.
how to share internally.
Yeah, a lot of the teachers do share, but not from a central warehouse like the instruments and sheet music, which would be nice.
Or costumes. I mean, I know kids.
I do have a lot of weapons, by the way.
They have like costumes that they
Yeah.
outgrow every year, but maybe can be reused for like
Mhm.
multi-purpose.
And even if it wasn't at a central location, even if the high schools, for example, are still storing them,
Mhm.
like just a central database or something where you know what's out there, so that
Good idea.
I think they'd love saving money on that.
Well, yeah, saving money obviously is the
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
Time, I know we put a lot of time into building these props, so.
Yeah. Great idea. I know. Yeah. Yeah, she's very excited about that. Yeah.
And Matilda over here at Mojave this weekend too.
Yes.
Now we know about these. Now we can start that depot for the costumes.
Yes.
So that another elementary school could do Lion King next year, and we've got a lot of stuff.
Which is funny because we did Lion King a couple years ago, which would have been great to
Right, yeah.
offer costumes.
Get those
So, yeah.
made.
I like that. That's awesome. Great ideas. Thank you. All right. All good? Thank you.
That's great. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys.
Okay, Jamie. Jamie Fitzpatrick, Director of College and Career Readiness.
Good morning. Alrighty, hopefully you guys got to grab some of the goodies that we brought today. If you did not get one, we have those for you. So we brought lots of resources today, and I took some notes on some topics that I think you guys might be interested in beyond what we have in our slide deck. So it looks like we are ready to go. Thank you. Alrighty, so as with everyone here at SUSD, we are grounded in our mission and vision to engage our student in world-class future-focused learning, which is exactly what we are here to talk to you about today. So we are career and technical education. Our department overall is college and career readiness. So we are here to talk to you about all things future focused, be it college, career, workforce, and all of the opportunities. Today's discussion really is about all the opportunities that you may or may not know exist in our district. How many of you guys are representing elementary or K-8? And how many represent high school? Okay, one here today. How many folks do we have online? Just curious, who's out there in our audience? Uh-oh. Okay, so today I brought with me one of my biggest resources, which is the members of my team. So we will kind of share the discussion with you today. So I'm Jamie Fitzpatrick. I'm director of our department. This is my first year in SUSD, so it has been a whirlwind, exciting year getting to know everybody, getting to know all our campuses and our staff and our students. I came here with 22 years in CTE from the Deer Valley Unified School District. So it is my passion, it is what I love, and so happy to be doing it in such a wonderful place. Also have Anthony, our teacher on assignment, curriculum and staff development, and our programs of study coordinator, Krista Demetrulius. So we are all excited to speak with you today about what's happening in CTE. So in the folders that you have, we brought you a couple of goodies today. On the right side is the handout you see up there about our programs. On the left side is a magazine, which is super interesting, called Move Over Bob. And Move Over Bob is kind of a movement that's happening in Arizona regarding the trades occupations, and specifically for females in trades occupations. So as you know, our workforce landscape is changing, and we're going to talk to you a lot today about what we call high wage, high demand careers, preparing those students for what's needed in today's economy, which is changing really rapidly. And what's going on in the trades fields with all of the baby boomers and Gen X's heading towards that retirement. Where's that gap going to be in skilled trades? And how does that affect our students, and particularly our females? So that magazine talks to you about all kinds of things happening in the skilled trades, in the engineering fields. And if you look real close, you'll see some of our ladies from Arcadia are featured in that magazine as well. And Kate Glantz, who's the publisher, has been working with our advisory board and with CTE folks all around Arizona, and she is a resident here in Scottsdale, so really excited that she is local and has been able to work with us on advancing the work of what we do. On the right side, you'll see our flyer, which talks about all of our programs. We currently have 19 unique programs offered across our 5 high school campuses. Some of them are offered at all schools, some of them are offered at only one school. And in the fine print, it kind of tells you little details about what's offered or how it's offered. So we have 38 total individual programs across all of our campuses. For our 6 through 8 students, we have Design My Future, which is offered at 4 middle schools and 3 K-8 schools, which really helps to give the students those professional skills, those exploration skills as they head into our high school programs. And then most of you are probably familiar with EVIT because we see that on our tax bill. We are a member of the EVIT district along with 11 other districts, and we send about 250 plus students to those central programs, and then EVIT supports what they call satellite programs here across our campuses. So that kind of gives the structure of what it looks like, and we'll talk to you in a minute about how some of those programs are offered. But right now, I'm going to turn it over to Krista because she's going to talk to you about some of the events that we do in the district and the community throughout the year.
Okay. So the big thing that we do is we have this annual college and career fair. This year, it's going to be September the 26th. It is going to be, that's a Saturday. It's going to be from 10 to 2. It's going to be at the Scottsdale Public Library, again, the Civic Center Library. Last year, we had probably about 2,000 parents and students that came through, and we had worked with the city of Scottsdale, worked with a lot of our community partners to bring in some vendors to, kids could visit colleges and get some information on kind of what their future was, not just college, but career as well. We have a new college and career information system forum platform that we are going to roll out this next year. We are currently using Major Clarity. I don't know if any students, if you are familiar with Major Clarity, have had a few hiccups, but we are going to work with, the new platform is called School Links. We're very excited about that. It has kind of everything from being able to register for your classes. Everything's going to be automated. It's going to kind of mesh with our Synergy system. So students will be able to pick their classes, they'll be able to pick their pathways, and apply for scholarships, track work-based learning opportunities, and all of that. So we're going to roll out that training with our staff this May. And then we'll roll it out with the students hopefully in August. And we're really hoping for some good usage on that, because I think it's going to be a great tool for students to kind of figure out what they like, kind of what they're good at, taking these little like inventory, like assessments to say, oh, I didn't know I was good at this topic, science, math, whatever that is, and what could I do? I didn't know that was even a job opportunity. So we're really hoping to get really good usage, so hoping to tap into our parents for that so that they can work with their students to kind of bring that forward. The scholarship opportunities, again, we have a lot of opportunities that are available with some of our industry partners. That will all be that's all available on the Major Clarity right now, but will be transferred over to School Links. We also have, at our 5 high schools, our college and career centers. We have 5 amazing college and career advisors, and they work with our students on college applications, the Common App. They work with our counselors. They work on bringing programs for our students, just different college representatives to be on campus so that students can kind of come in and learn a little bit more about their, what their future looks like. And then we also are working with the city of Scottsdale. We have there's a college and career corner. And we're really excited about that partnership because it's another opportunity for students to get some assistance with FAFSA, filling out their financial aid form. That is something that I think is a little bit of a misnomer because sometimes parents think, oh, I don't need to fill out a financial aid form because I'm paying for college or I don't need financial aid. But filling out that FAFSA will allow you to get some opportunities for scholarships. So it is a great tool for you to be able to kind of tap into some uncharted scholarships that we didn't even know were out there. And so by filling out that FAFSA, it opens up the students for that availability for them. So we also, that's at the city of Scottsdale. So that's kind of college and career in an overview. Yeah, any questions?
Okay, so for the schooling program that you're gonna launch, number one, you said that it includes assessments. Is that AI? Is there AI incorporated in that schooling? I don't know.
Not sure exactly what you mean by what the AI is able to do, but there is AI built into it. Just like with Major Clarity, the program's intuitive. It's built on algorithms to narrow the student's focus down to what they need to do. So a student might ask, might be answering a question like, do you like to work with your hands, or do you like to, paint things? And then it kind of takes all of that and synthesizes it together to provide the students direction of what's the best fit. And then as the students look at things and rate things, it will kind of dial in and help them to narrow that focus, if that's what you mean. It also has tools to help them write resumes and cover letters and recommendation letters for our staff, things like that.
I think it's 6-8, right? It's 6.
I'm sorry? 612.
And so that is the big thing. Like my push would be get your students on there early and often and just have them using these tools because, maybe they do it in the 6th grade, but maybe their interests might change by the 9th grade. So just what they do in 6th grade doesn't mean that's what they're locked into. They can change that. But it's a tool that allows you to do that with them. So it's kind of an integrated partnership, I guess. Yeah. So it'll allow parents to, see what their children are doing and kind of guide them along with other tools that are available. So it all gives them a good overview.
So I think this is actually a huge opportunity for SBC to, is it already available to us?
It was just board approved last night.
Yeah, just but like for us to be PR for this.
Absolutely.
Rising 5th grade parents.
Yep.
Okay, so I would love to work on this.
Yep. So reach out to us once we actually get the platform installed and get the materials and the information. We would love to enlist your support in deployment. Absolutely.
That was my big push is I thought coming to the Scottsdale Parent Council might kind of get
Yeah, this is big. We've got 28 people on our implementation team from our staff, so we are committed. So moving on, who do we serve? We serve all SUSD students. So we are not college or career, we are college and career. That we know that both of those are equally important in preparing our students for that economic independence that as parents we all strive for. We have multiple entry and exit points in the program depending on the student's commitment to the career. And students, whether they are bound for workforce, four-year college or university, trade school, apprenticeship, military, entrepreneurship, all of those are equally viable and equally important opportunities for students. And if you've seen like the state 48 profile of a graduate that's come out in Arizona, students may be more than one of these things at the same time. And that's really important. And that's why we want to be able to comprehensively share all of those opportunities with students and to help them recognize that. Anthony's going to be talking to you in a moment more specifics about our programs, how they work. But I know that you guys were really interested in funding and how things work. So as you're going to see some of the cool things he's going to talk to you about, how do we make those things happen? And we have several different funding sources. We are federal and state funded through Carl Perkins for career and technical education. That's not the bulk of the funding what we do, but it definitely helps support a lot of the supplies, the staff, and the opportunities. EVIT is the primary source of funding that helps to make our programs happen. And with the new bond, there is also about $10 million in there for upgrading the CTE facilities as well. All of the money that comes through us through federal, state, and EVIT is called supplemental money. So supplement, not supplant, is kind of the financial term that we use, meaning that the district has the financial commitment to the programs, and then these extra things support it to make what we call industry standard or industry aligned. So with that, our students are able to participate in what we call work-based learning, where they're not only learning the theory or the content, but they're applying it in a work-based setting, and Anthony's going to tell you all about that.
Awesome. Can I borrow the clicker? Thank you. All right. Hi, I'm Anthony Vogel. I work in the CT office, but before that, I taught at Chaparral. This is my 10th year. It's also Krista's 10th year, so we've been here for a minute. I can't think of anywhere else I would love to go, and I tell myself that every day on the 101 for 45 minutes to 65 minutes, depending upon what happens. So yes, but the first thing that we talk about, and one of the biggest components of career and technical education, is work-based learning. That's hands-on. That is someone learning what the day in life in the industry is, and that's also doing it. So you see two pictures, but there's a lot more. We've got sports med, we've got culinary arts, which if you've not had a chance to go up and check that out at Chaparral, I would recommend doing that. However, they're shutting down the kitchen because the school year is ending, and I realized that when I wanted a cookie and they didn't have any. Anyway, so last year we were able to go ahead and get the Culinary Arts Cafe up and running. You saw a picture of that actually on the previous slide for our advisory board. Oh, that's the other thing. We also answer to not only parents, but also industry professionals, where we meet with them at least twice a year, where they tell us, this is what's going on in industry, and this is what we need you to do for us. So I was like, all right, this is cool. I love this. Someone telling me what to do. So we have lots of accountability over in the career and technical education department. But we've got culinary, we've got sports med, that would be sports med up there and there. We also work on internships. We love when our students are able to get on the community and demonstrate their skills. So much so that I was able to convince my friend who owns a studio personal training center to take on one of our interns. And then I had to readjust my schedule to make sure I'm not there at the same time, because I don't want to work while I want to swear at her for what she makes me do. For those of you that have one, you know what I'm talking about. All right, we've got, I think it's 39 interns this year. Sorry, I should have pulled that. Yeah, it's 39. We're working on counting up the ones for next year. Unfortunately, 63, perfect. That can include out in the community. That also includes on site. And if you'll notice over here in the bottom corner, that is the Graphic Design Innovation Center that we put together for Saguaro. Both Saguaro and Desert Mountain have one. So Saguaro, and Desert Mountain. Within those centers, students are able to go and work on projects. If you see all the stickers that were over there and in your folder, those were designed by students. Yeah, so they're able to try with different mediums. Also at Saguaro, I believe they built the sponsorship banners for this year, which is really exciting. They can do, I think, as wide as 54 inches or 64 inches, but I can't find anything that big. And also by as long as you want. I think the biggest spool we've ever got was 155 feet. And then the teacher that got to move that was very happy with me because it is very heavy. Anyway, we also love sending our students out to get more industry experience, and that could include job shadowing, that could include tours, that could include manufacturing day at ASU West. Clinicals, our career and technical student organizations, our CTSOs, you may have heard of DECA, you may have heard of FBLA, HOSA, FCCLA, CCAP, I'm forgetting one. Skills USA, that one. And the cool thing about it is SUSD does really well in them. Desert Mountain sent 22 students to International Career Development Center. Conference in Atlanta. They just got back, and Chaparral sent 13. And I told both those advisors, I'm so very happy you get to go, because I used to have to do that, and there's 24,000 high school students all in one place. That's a lot. Anyway, next year I believe it's in Orlando, right?
Either Orlando or Anaheim. Those are the fan favorites.
True, because then you get to go to Disney World. Anyway, that was my favorite, at least. So we also got ourselves some school-based enterprises where we're teaching students how to run a business, which is a lot of fun. They go out and do site visits, mentorships. We've got some, that's even for teachers. We've got teachers that are going and doing job shadows so that they keep their industry skills up to date. My favorite part's when I get FaceTime videos from them and going, oh no, what happened? Look what I made! It was so exciting. We have guest speakers. The owner of Tarbell's restaurant came and talked to our culinary department and showed them some cool knife skills. And then I was invited to go there, and all I got to see was chop up vegetables, which was cool to watch, but I can eat a carrot anytime I want. Anyway, but the other thing to kind of also note that we've got about this is our pathways tend to be 2 years, with the exception of engineering, which is 3. What does that mean? That means when they're done, they've got skills. They get industry certifications. We love our industry certifications, and I believe we're talking about that a little bit later on. Yes? Yep. Cool. All right. That's all I got. Any questions for me?
You said engineering was 3 years, but all the others are 2?
Yes.
And then, and I know this might be like old school, but do they still do auto?
We don't. Instead, we have ourselves the engineering people where they can, well, depending upon the site. One of them kind of says, all right, you have the skills, what do you want to do? Last year, he had a kid that was doing metallurgy. That was fun to watch and also a little scary, but that's just for me. Another one was working on auto parts, but it's not necessarily prescribed. It's more like, here's the skills, go see what you need to do with it. But we don't have that on site. However, they can opt to go to EVIT where they do have that. Yes?
Did EVIT and SUSD work out their recent differences?
Yes, we are one of 3 that signed. It's us, ALA, and Mesa, and we signed before the school year started, so we're good to go.
What is that?
Our intergovernmental agreement, IGA, is basically our agreement with EVIT regarding funding and what we're going to be doing with students. That's more of our thing. But am I close on that or anything else? Perfect.
So,
Before we do that, I want to talk about the bistro could be available for maybe a Scottsdale Parent Council meeting in the future.
That's true.
yes, with coffee and pastries.
Pastries, you could go to the bistro and you could see firsthand how our culinary students on the job. So that would
I'm
be
loving the new SBC.
Yeah. Where's the bistro?
Chaparral.
Chaparral. So it is at Chaparral, but they, they do a great job. So, just as long as they know ahead of time,
Yeah.
Jack,
That would be
Chef
great.
Jack would be welcome you.
Cool.
So just keep
Love
that
that.
option open for next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So EVIT, so you might have read a lot of press releases regarding EVIT in a lawsuit. So 9 of the districts chose to enter into litigation with EVIT regarding the funding and the accountability measures. A lot of the accountability measures are driven by the Auditor General. And some of the districts were kind of at odds with EVIT on how that was going to be implemented. Scottsdale, Mesa, and American Leadership Academy chose to accept the IGA requirements and to abide by those regulations, feeling that our programs were quality enough that we could meet it and that the funding structure was fair. So that is kind of where we are at right now and waiting to see what will happen. So our communications department, which if you've worked with Christine Harrington and Symphony Sherman and their team, are really amazing. They've helped us to put together a video series this year. So each one of our district-aligned pathways has a video that parents and students can view on the website or on the YouTube channel. So if tech is on our side today, we're going to show you the nursing pathway.
In any field of the medical industry, nursing, if you're becoming a doctor, a surgeon, this is just going to teach you those basics that you'll need for whatever you go into.
This is a state board certified program with the Arizona State Board of Nursing, and it is a CNA, so Certified Nursing Assistant is what they would end up with. And at the end of the year, they are able to take their state boards to basically get their CNA testing and go straight to direct employment if they prefer to do so.
I'm interested in being a nurse, so my counselor told me about this program and that it would prepare me for college and just for nursing in general. We've learned CPR, basic vital signs, and how to move and transfer patients and clean them.
Start typically the year with what we call a boot camp. We learn the ethics and laws behind healthcare. We learn delegation as far as the scope of practice for a CNA. And then we also learn each body unit. So we do anatomy and physiology. Medical terminology is something else that we get. And then again, those hands-on skills that they would learn in the actual medical care setting. We have partnership with Banner and with Honor Health, so they get to work in different areas of those hospitals just to get that early introduction to different areas and see where they would be interested in. Students can go in for 8 hours, get partnered with a CNA, and then see just what those CNA, their day-to-day experience is of taking care of patients. We do partner with 2 long-term care facilities here, also one in South Scottsdale and then one in North Scottsdale. We do allow our students, they spend about 25 hours there. We typically go in about January and about the end of April, and they learn bedside manner, dealing with a patient, getting to do things like feeding them, assisting to wheelchair.
I think this will help me because once I go to college, I'm going to know those basics and I won't have to spend as much time learning the basics, and I'll already have that and I'll have that patient experience. It's super important because it helps build that confidence. So when I go to nursing school and when I start out my career, I'm going to have more confidence in myself because I know I've done it before.
Alrighty, and then the fabulous background music you heard there was actually an original work by our CMAS program, a music and audio production at Arcadia High School. So programs working together to make those things like this happen. And nursing is seniors only, and it is on a block schedule. So students from all 5 high schools can attend the nursing program at Saguaro. They come in the morning for periods 1 and 2. Transportation is provided back and forth to the home school. And they complete the program in 1 year. They can earn college credit. We'll talk a little bit in a moment about dual enrollment, so they can earn college credit through that program. And then our students, they can go directly to the workforce as a CNA. Most of them go on to earn their RNs at the community colleges or the universities, their BSNs, or even go as far as to earn their nurse practitioner or PA certification, or go to med school. Or some of them go into those supporting fields like radiology or biotech and those other opportunities. So just a plethora of opportunities in healthcare. When I came on to SUSD, the first thing our team did was go sit down with the Scottsdale Department of Economic Development and learn real quickly that the biggest needs are healthcare and finance and hospitality and tourism. That's a great question. Do you want to speak?
I do, sure. Also, culinary and biotech are also on that same get it done in 1 year program. But our most popular program in SUSD is finance. Apparently, Scottsdale parents want their kids to know about money. That's what I taught for 9 and something years. Also, marketing is number 2, followed by sports medicine. And then kind of sporadic throughout that. Yes? Why, yes, we have to do that. It's part of our grant funding. 6 months after graduation, we go out and say, "Where are you?" It's why on the senior exit survey that all 5 high schools have to send out, there's a question that some might seem as a little invasive, which is, "What is your personal email address?" And that's because in 6 months we have to say, "Hey, what you doing? How you doing?" What counts as our success factor is, are they either in industry? Are they in a trade school related to what they came from, or are they in a college in a major that they got that they completed their CT program in?
So yes, we're required to obviously collect what they've done in the last 6 months. We really do follow them for a year, but the Helios Foundation, which is over near the Biltmore, they do a lot of that data collection and provide us with the data on what happens with their graduates, and a lot of it is that retention rate once they go to university. And it's important that we look at that because that really informs, what we do and how we speak to our students and educate our students in high school. So that is really important data. Yes.
You mentioned that most of the programs are 2-year. Could you possibly do something freshman and sophomore, complete it, and then do something totally different junior and senior year?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that happens a lot.
Who do we contact if we have apprenticeships in our company?
Us. We would love that. That would be amazing.
All right, I have coding, finance, and cyber.
Yep.
Those are all the ones we're looking for.
Yeah, and if you want to stay after, we're happy to talk to you.
Come to the microphone and say your email address and your name so that
I can give you all my business cards if you want. All right, cool. I've got those.
Yep, and you've got mine in there too, and you've got our QR code to our website. So one program we're particularly proud of that's new to us is the EVIT Fire Academy at Coronado High School. So that is a program that is taught and operated by EVIT, but it is housed here at Coronado, and it's in partnership with the Scottsdale Fire Department. Our kids are just super jazzed and committed that are in that program. They learn everything from EMT skills to structural wildlands. So we're going to show you that video too because it's just really super cool.
Fire Science Academy. Students get hands-on training in fire science and emergency medical services through a partnership with Scottsdale Unified School District.
Once I seen fire science, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try it out to see what it is.
I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do.
But as soon as I joined the program, I was like, I want to become a firefighter. People go through hardships every day, and I want to be that light for other people.
It's a really good opportunity for me and a lot of other people to start our careers.
In a smaller, team-focused environment, students train like first responders, building the skills and confidence needed for the fire service. With direct connections to local fire departments, students gain real-world experience and a clear path into the industry.
Scottsdale Fire Department came down to our class and they showed us around their truck. They go to medical calls and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, so firefighting is real.
Students have the opportunity to earn industry-recognized certifications, including their Wildland Firefighter certification.
When we received our wildland certification, it made me realize this is a class where you can get into a position in life where you want to be.
For students here, it's not just about learning the job. It's about realizing what's possible.
Coming here and doing this every day, it takes a level of dedication and commitment and respect to yourself, to your peers, to your teachers, to everybody.
Once I found EVIT, I was just like, wow, I can actually become a part of the fire service. I can do what I want. If I put my mind to it and I set my heart to where I want to be in life, then I can be that light for other people.
Typically speaking, the way that program's run is more like you want to be a lawyer, but there are definitely the police aspects in them. The teacher recently asked if she can get some golf carts so they can do stops, and I was like, I don't know about that. All that would be cool.
But they do work. They work with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. They work with Scottsdale PD. They get to go out to those events and places and visit with those folks. So we try to appeal to all students and all career interests with criminal justice as the main focus. They do a lot of crime scene investigation and some of the stuff on like the detective side. And they do earn those dual enrollment credits in there as well. There's 12 dual enrollment credits. So dual enrollment and advanced placement. In the past, you might have thought CTE, but not thinking all of those college opportunities. Many or most of our dual enrollment opportunities do fall within the CTE pathways. We have many partners. We partner mostly with Scottsdale Community College for dual enrollment. And many of our programs offer anywhere from 3 to 12 credits over the course of the program. But we also partner with our universities. Our engineering 3 partners with the University of Arizona for the Engineering 102 credit. Our business operations program at Chaparral, or the course is called My Digital Brand, partners with ASU CIS 105. CIS 105 is required for just about every degree program in Arizona universities. And then we've offered AP opportunities, AP Business and Personal Finance. We had so many kids registered for it for fall 26. We had to turn some of those kids away. And AP Networking and Cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is one of the rising fields in IT. About 10 years ago, it was coding. We prepared all these kids for coding. Then AI came along, and now cybersecurity is the rising field in IT. So we are super sensitive and quickly pivot as those industry trends change. And the pace that that's happening now is becoming more and more rapid.
Does the military fall outside of you all?
Yes and no. Our district does not have an JROTC program. A lot of our neighboring districts do, which is kind of the direct pathway to it. But through like law and public safety, we'll talk about military opportunities as well. Our teacher's actually going to a U.S. Navy training camp in the summer to learn about some of those opportunities. But our college and career centers work real closely with the recruiters. And Anthony's going to tell you a little bit more about industry-recognized credentials, and then we'll head into Q&A.
Awesome. This is one of my favorite parts ever. And that's mostly because, well, I've had students reach out to me on LinkedIn several times saying thank you. This is a key differentiator between the student that took a class and then every other student that took that class that is applying for the one internship position. Because this is an industry-recognized credential. It is objective, not necessarily subjective, meaning that if you've got it, someone outside of the school has said, you know your stuff. We are on track to surpass 500 students that have sat for an industry-recognized exam. And I say on track for because a lot of teachers turn that into their final. And finals are next week. So I do not quite have those yet, but right now we're at 455. And that is from every pathway, offers at least one. Some offer multiple. So for example, our engineering classes right now are doing the Google Project Management certification, as well as either Autodesk and or SolidWorks certification. If you're not sure what that is, that's AutoCAD, which is really awesome. They're the ones that can design the 3D stuff for you to go take to the 3D printer and print. Currently, they're also working on a project for teaching and learning on making fidgets for students. Anyway, stackable credentials. What does that necessarily mean? Well, that means that they can start here and then continue to grow upon them from when they go from year 1 to year 2. That's why many programs offer more than one certification. Our graphic design, digital photography, and digital publishing courses or digital communications are all starting to get ready to test for their Adobe Certified Professional exam, which, if they pass that, they can get a college credit for it. So that's exciting. I got to tell a bunch of students that yesterday, and suddenly they want to try a lot harder. Anyway, it's like, wow, you should have listened to that back in August. Anyway, all right, so career-ready skill development. When students leave here, they've got not only our technical standards that every class teaches, but also we are responsible for teaching professionalism, professional standards. You will know how to dress for an interview. You will know how to sit for an interview. Hopefully, you will know how to interview. Usually, each of our pathways offers a resume where they start with that, and they have to be able to build on that. They know that you need to show up on time, and arguably that's just as important, if not more important, than knowing what you're doing. We used to say in my classroom, I can train you to do just about anything, but I can't fix your attitude. So, hire for attitude and train for aptitude is kind of something we go by. But anyway, so there's our industry-recognized certifications. Questions? Yes?
When and how do students meet you?
I'm in classrooms all the time. That's my favorite place to be. So a lot of them at different campuses know me just whenever I walk in there, I go, hi, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, hi, what y'all working on? What you doing?
But I actually meant your programs. Like,
Oh,
is it
middle school.
middle school?
Design My Future, which is our ECTE or Early Career and Technical Education programs, starts in 6th through 8th grade. So not every middle school has that yet. I wish they all did, but they don't. That's fine. So they can kind of get in contact with them there and then building up. Many of our career and technical education teachers from the high schools will go down to the middle schools and start recruiting. However, a lot of our programs start in 10th grade or 11th or 12th, depending upon. So biotech is open to 11th, 12th, and nursing is open to 12th. And that's mostly because you have to have some underlying knowledge that you won't have as a freshman in order to be successful in those classes.
So it's their school counselors, I assume?
And I work with the school counselors throughout the year. I meet with them once or twice a month. So we're in direct contact with sharing the latest and greatest information with the counselors. And the counselors are really the point of contact for families and for students.
Would you say the majority of these are upperclassmen, junior, senior?
No.
No, it's pretty good distribution between all of them. Probably sophomores kind of the sweet spot where we get the most students. And just numbers-wise, we've got about 25 to 2,600 students, so about half of our high school population at any given time is enrolled in a CTE program. By the time they finish, probably closer to 60 to 70% have completed at least 1 year in the course. And probably our biggest goal is retention in the students for completing those 2 years of the program, and then the optional internship in their senior year.
2553 is the exact number I pulled up this morning. Yes.
But you know what? I would actually say too that like there was the follow-up question about like how often do you follow up? Like are they practicing in that trade? I would say it's not even a failure if they're not practicing in that trade because these kids are still like 16, 17, 18 years old. What I do now is completely different than what I did with 18. But like what you're talking about, the professionalism, the responsibility, like doing that stuff, even if you don't go into that specific trade, you are still learning those skills that will set you up for the future. So I wouldn't say that the program isn't successful just because someone's not doing that trade. I would say, are they doing something? Are they doing something productive? Are they doing something where they're contributing, or are they just out doing nothing? Like I think these programs are really good just for the fact that they are instilling like responsibility and stuff. So I think that's a really important
Exactly. That leadership piece and that entrepreneurship piece are huge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Question about, has anyone ever discussed having, offering driver's ed? Would that fall under EBIT? Because I know that it's come up before in Arizona where SUSD is one of the districts that doesn't provide that, and it just kind of.
Most don't, and I'm not sure, maybe Michelle knows if Nick provides it through community education. No, so, and I know in my last district, it was either through the community education program where the parents paid for it, or like I know from my own children who were, in their late 20s, early 30s now, we went to a private driving school. At some point in the early 2000s, it went away in schools, not really sure why. And the interesting thing is we'll get kids that don't do internships because they don't drive. And
I wonder because, it's only offered for private, lessons now, and it's really expensive. It's like $500 and $600 to put your kid through that, and so I know that's cost prohibitive for a ton of families. You've got all these kids potentially on the road that don't, they don't have any, formal training, and so I don't know if that would fall under.
yeah, well, we all sit on a committee called the High School Planning Guide, so it's definitely something we can bring forward and.
I don't know who to bring it to.
Yeah.
It's like, when I was growing up, it was available, it was cheap, it was, something to do over the summer, and then all the kids had the opportunity to use it. And so, yeah, whatever committee.
Yeah, I'm sure it's expensive to run because of the equipment and the liability. But it's definitely worth a question, and it's definitely a skill that our students need because.
Every single kid going through high school needs it. Like
Yeah.
every single one without exception. So it's like, it seems like that would be a gap that we could fill maybe.
We did that in the Midwest, and we
Totally.
had, when I turned 15, you were able to get into the class, so I was a 10th grader, and I had driver's ed for a whole year.
That's right.
And you do the simulation, and you do the actual driving in the car, where they had like the specific cars that helped you, that if you were brake,
And it's better for the community because then they're trained.
Right, and you can take the test as well, so it's all
done in the package.
it's all
And so
done,
the parents
so
would
it's
help
great.
offset that because they would still pay.
Yeah, we can certainly bring it to our planning guide. But yes,
Thank you.
it's a great question. I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, great. Thank you guys so much. I feel like that was super informative. If you guys have any questions, we can put all these people's stuff on our website. Thank you guys so much. And, well, we're at time, so we're going to call it for today. Thank you guys all so much for coming. Again, please reach out to us. This is our last meeting of the year. We will hope everybody has a great summer, and we will see you in the fall. Reach out to us over the summer so we can figure out the new direction for SPC. Final reminder for that. Thank you guys so much.